Good morning. Good morning and happy Mother's Day. I'm Theresa and you're with the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. And I am so happy you are. I am so happy you get to connect with someone. If you are a mother or you have children, or you want to be with your mother and you can't do that today, I'm happy that you're with us. And feel that love connection, because that's what we're going to be talking about today, is that heart connection. And so I'm really happy that you're here with us. You know, it's been 10 weeks since I've been with my spiritual family. 10 weeks. And this is the 9th week that we've been love streaming. But, you know, I had missed the week before we started doing this because I wasn't feeling well. So it's been a long time. I know it's been a long time, and I feel it in here, and I know many of you do. And I want to say thank you too. We've been receiving your tithe checks in the mail, and many of you have put little notes in there to me. And I can't tell you, like, when I can tell that the envelope has a message in it, I get so excited. And so I just want to take a moment to thank you for those little notes that you're putting in there, and also the comments. When you put comments on the Facebook page or comment like this on Sunday morning, it feels good. And I have put a little note in the last 2 weeks, emails, to reach out to me too. Call me or email me and let me know how you're doing, and let's have a conversation back and forth, because it's important. You know, we're physical distancing, but we're not social distancing, and we're not heart disconnected. We're always connected. And so take advantage of those opportunities. And anyway, I'm going to move on, but I just wanted to give you a heartfelt, I'm happy that you're here with me this morning in my house, and I'm with you at yours. Last week, many of you were with us when we had Meredith and Steve Beagle. And I love the two of them. I love their music. I love the music of the Rock and Kirtan. And I apologize that our sound wasn't, tip top and the way that we would have wanted it to be. And so I want to just remind you that they're doing a kirtan tonight at 6:30. And that link is on Facebook to participate again and really get into the groove of what they do. And I'm going to be there. And so I hope you are too. But this morning we have another treat. We have Felicia Rose with us this morning, and Felicia is usually traveling, a troubadour of this heart and mind opening music. And but she's coming to us from her home in Florida, but not here and not in person. But she offers us a danceable folk music, soulful world beat, even a little gospel in there, and does Sanskrit chant as well. So I'm really looking forward to what she's bringing to us this morning. In her bio, it says that she spent her life turning pain into passion. And she uses sound healing as one way to do that. And so I'm really happy that we're able to bring her to you this morning via this love streaming that we're doing. So this morning, she's going to help Bobby and I create this experience for you of listening to the heart. That's our Centers for Spiritual Living global theme this month. And for me, I think this is a real poignant time for all of us to be sharpening our spiritual practices, to be honing those intuitive skills, so that we really are guided from a true place within ourselves as we navigate the pandemic and these times. Mother Theresa said, "God speaks in the silence of the heart. Listening is the beginning of prayer." So join me as we start our time together this morning with that in mind, that God speaks in the silence of the heart. So let's allow ourselves to just settle in, just for a few moments, to that silence. And we can use our breath as a vehicle for that by breathing in and releasing. And just take 3 nice, deep, cleansing breaths in, breathing in love, bringing in this present moment. And breathing out any and all distractions. Bring yourself with your breath right here present. In this silence, in this stillness, is the divine presence. Feel into that which is always available. That source and substance of all life right here, right now. Fully present where each of us sit. In this present moment, I know that for myself, that the source of life itself is pulsating. It is moving. It is flowing in my breath, with each heartbeat, through my blood circulating in my body. That one, that source, that substance is moving through my body and the body of my affairs. I am filled with it. I am made of it. I am immersed in it. And what I know for myself, I know for each person within the sound of my voice. I know this truth for all, that this is a loving and supportive universe, that there's absolutely nothing that stands in the way of our love, unconditional love, of a state of being which is elevated, which is true, which is good. Release anything again that would stand in the way of my full and complete recognition in this moment and over the next hour and for the rest of my life of the truth of who and what I am. I'm so grateful to be this open portal, to be this receptive vessel for Spirit's love, for Spirit's presence. I simply breathe that in and let it be, and so it is. Now, if you would please, welcome Felicia Rose. Good morning, Felicia.
Good morning. This is a song that I wrote for my spiritual mother many years ago, and I'm sending it out to her. She's ascended to the next realm, and to my mother and all the mothers. Were you with me in the night, helping make rose-colored wave of my hand, spreading love all through the land. Through the land, singing love, 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 love of God. Love, 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 love of God. I used to journey below to where the dark forces go, when in the depths of my pain, a hummingbird came by to say, you can fly away on the wings of the white horse. You can fly. And when the demons come near, I will not fear. And in the darkness of the night, I'll call the purity of life. The purity of life. Singing love, 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 love of God. Love, 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 love of God. I was lost, but now I'm found. You turned my life around. I was blind, I could not see to God's love with God. It's the love, God's holy love. It's the love. Ethereal blue butterflies dance through Egyptian eyes, and the eternal afterlife survives, and the white horse flies. The white horse flies, singing love, 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 love of God. It's the love, God's holy love.
Thank you, Felicia. The reading today comes from The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, page 366. Jesus spent much of his time communing with his own soul, for it is through our inner thought that we contact God. To this remarkable man, out of the silence of his own soul, came a direct revelation of his sonship. his oneness with God. Back of the conflict of ideas, back of the din of external life and action, back in the innermost recesses of uplifted thought and silent contemplation, there is a voice ever proclaiming, "This is my beloved Son." Seldom does this voice penetrate the outer world of human experience. Seldom does anyone allow it to perfectly express through him. We must learn to listen for this voice. Call it conscience, intuition, or what we will, it is there. No man need go unguided through life, for all are divine at the center and all are images of the Most High. Sweet song of the silence, forever singing in my heart. Words cannot express, the tongue cannot tell. Only the heart knows the songs which were never sung, the music which was never written. I have heard that great harmony and felt that great presence. I have listened to the silence, and in the deep places of life, I have stood naked and receptive to thy songs, and they have entered my soul. I am lost in the mighty depths of thy inner calm and peace. Now another song from Felicia.
That was beautiful. Are you listening? Are you listening? All hail the light within when you're caught. Are you listening when you're caught? Are you listening? You better close your eyes and look deep inside. Drop everything you're doing. All your worldly desires won't mean anything at all when you're caught. When you're caught, when spirit calls your name, you'll never be the same. Like a magnet to your soul, you will go, you'll go. It's time to pack your bags or leave them behind. There's nothing that you really need except to lose your mind. You learn how to love as you drink deep from the well. You'll see through different eyes, as if you've been hypnotized when you're caught. When spirit calls your name, you'll never be the same. Like a magnet to your soul, you will go. You go. You will go. Offer my heart to you. Will you have it? like a magnet to your soul. You go, go, you go. You listen. Are you listening when you're called?
Oh, thank you, Felicia. Thank you so much. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, I'm very excited. I have special news. This is an extra special Mother's Day for me. We have a new grandbaby. We have a new grandbaby as of Friday morning. Our third grandson was born, and he was born. Okay, our third grandson, and he was born on the third birthday of his brothers, the twins. You follow that? My son and his wife have 3 boys now, and they're all born on the same day, right? And so the boys' third birthday was Friday, and Katie gave birth to their brother. So it's amazing. I think that alone is just amazing. But I'm always absolutely in awe of the magnificence of childbirth, you know, and the promise of new life. It takes my breath away each time I think about it. My own births and any birth of new life. It really is a beautiful thing. So exciting to get to share that with everybody. I've read that the first sounds that an embryo hears is the mother's heartbeat. The first of the 5 senses even that develop in an embryo is sound or hearing, and to hear the mother's heartbeat is the first sound that they hear. This is it's a primal rhythm. It's like the mother's heartbeat, the one heartbeat, this pulse. And this pulse is available for us still today, this pulse of guidance and wisdom. It's the guidance and the wisdom of the universe, of the divine within each one of us. And we connect to it on such a beautiful level. We can connect to our intuition through the pathway of the heart. And it's always speaking to us. The heart is always forever speaking to us, guiding us, imparting itself to us and through us into life, by means of us into life. And so when we listen and when we pay attention, which is really a key here, when we pay attention, we hear this rhythm, this guidance, this call upon our own lives, right? And so every day we have this opportunity. Every day we have an opportunity to acknowledge and celebrate motherhood and all its forms, and to connect with that aspect of the divine which is within us. And this voice within us is always embracing us, loving us, nurturing us. It knows us at such a depth, unlike anything else, really, unlike anything else. And so through the practice of listening to our own hearts, I believe that we become better able to, one, move through life with an authentic confidence, to move through life with a depth of knowing what is ours to do, and a depth of knowing even in the small steps what to do. So that's first, listening to our heart helps us in our own personal lives, our daily lives, and with the big decisions of life. And second, it helps us relate to one another more compassionately and with more empathy. And 3, thereby, it helps us create a world that works for everyone. It truly helps us see and feel each other at that heart depth and have that heart connection with each other. And this is what Science Mind teaches. Maybe not in the words that I just said, but Science Mind teaches us about guidance, right? In the Declaration of Principles, which Ernest Holmes wrote in 1927, which is also known as What We Believe, he wrote, "We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. We experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it." So let's tease this apart just a little bit. We believe that heaven is within us. Heaven being a state of being. Again, like that confidence that I just spoke about, that we authentically and confidently move through our life, that kind of state of being. A state of being that is equanimity, a state of being that is a buoyancy of equanimity. To be in that place in every facet of our lives, no matter what's going on, swirling around us, we have this sense of calm and peace because we know who and what we are, right? That's that heaven within us. That's what that is. And it is a result of us being awake to that presence and being aligned with that presence, with that unlimited potentiality of life that's found within each one of us. That is the promise and the gift to each one of us. And it is the seat of harmony, of peace, of joy, of success, of wisdom within each one of us. And so Science Mind tells us that this is not a place to get to. This is not a place outside of us, but rather a place to live from. This kingdom, this heaven, is a place to live from. And then he also talks about to the degree, right? To the degree that we're aware of it. So how do we have that degree that he's talking about? It really feels right now more than ever that this is the intent of my ministry, that this is the focus that my ministry is taking right now anyway, that it's so important for each one of us to have a daily spiritual practice. I believe that it is utmost importance for us right now. It's more important than wearing gloves and a mask to be connected to your source that tells you to wear a mask when you're around people that you know, but it's a daily practice that informs us deeply so that we're not sidetracked by everything that's swirling around us. I just feel like it's super important. So that's been the intention of probably my talks for the last 9 weeks. So here's something else that came from the Declaration of Principles. All right, what we believe. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. So again, direct revelation of truth, it's available to all of us. Intuitive and spiritual nature, intuitive and spiritual knowing, and it's available to everyone who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. And that's the how, that's the to the degree to have this daily practice. You know, we busy ourselves. Before the pandemic, during the pandemic, we busy ourselves and we forget to commune, to listen to our own heart, our soul, spirit within, the voice, whatever we want to call that. And we also, I think, sometimes forget that the gift is already given, that there's no struggle required, that the gift is already given. To paraphrase Glinda the Good Witch from The Wizard of Oz, quite the metaphysician, she said, everything we're looking for was right there with us all along. And that's our truth. That's mine and that's your truth. And I've also spoken about that quite a bit in the last few weeks, this ability that we have to distract ourselves with all the outer concerns and activities. And do you know what wag the dog is, the phrase wag the dog? I've said that multiple times to Bobby during the last many weeks, but oh, that's wag the dog. Wag the dog would mean to purposely divert attention away from what's otherwise of greater importance and putting our attention on something of lesser importance, like busying yourself with social media rather than your life, while your life goes unlived, while you're not touching that very, very essence of who you are and finding ways to allow that to express through you by means of you. That would be wag the dog. I think there's a lot of wag the dog going on right now. But we can take the time to listen to that primal rhythm of life, to feel it pulsating through our entire being. There's the song of the universe is here available for us. It's one song uniquely suited for us, like singing through us, that one version, that one phrasing that is unique for each one of us, revealing that wisdom again. So are you listening? Are you listening to that and for that? And what are you hearing? One of my favorite authors is Parker Palmer. Look him up if you don't know who he is. Parker Palmer is a Quaker higher education teacher. He was a dean of a college, that type of thing. And now he spends a lot of time teaching teachers. So he does retreats and whatnot for teachers, and he has beautiful books. And he says that the wisdom of the heart is always telling us that we're worthy. The wisdom of the heart always says you are precious. You are valued just as you are, just as you are. And that's really how we recognize that. It is always loving and supportive. But he says that there's a vulnerability in us accepting and practicing that, to live from that place, to live from that heart, to live from that place of knowing that we are precious. 2 to 3 years ago, I saw David Premmel and Minton at Riverview High School, the Riverview High School auditorium. I think it was maybe 3 years ago. And they were singing a mantra. I don't remember exactly what the mantra was. The experience of the heart, though, I remember. It's in the fabric of who I am now. It was a mantra where they invited, and of course we had already been chanting, for maybe an hour into the program. And they invited the men to stand up and sing this chant to the women in the room, a chant of love, a chant of healing, a chant of forgiveness. And it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful. And then the women sang to the men. The tears just fell out of me. They were washing me. And as I looked around the room, this was a universal experience. This was a healing of the masculine and the feminine on a very universal level. This wasn't a personal healing, although people may have had personal breakthroughs at that moment, but it was connecting at that primal level. It was connecting at that heart, soul level. It was a song we were singing in unison, a song of the heart. And that kind of experience doesn't require intellectual or logical analysis, not in my opinion. It doesn't require any of that. Kahil Gibran in The Prophet says, the deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. And for me, that experience was like that. It was a healing of old wounds, maybe things that were left unfinished, maybe in me or in previous or related lives. The deeper the sorrow carves into your being, a cultural experience, a human experience, but the more joy that we can contain. And that was truly the experience of that. Again, not Not an experience to be understood here, but an experience to be felt here. In the Science of Mind textbook, we read, "The universe holds nothing against us. No matter how many mistakes we have made, we are still perfect beings within. And the within may become the without if we can carefully train ourselves to listen to the inner voice of truth, which speaks to us in moments of quietness and solitude." Now, I'll tell you, I was in an auditorium with hundreds of people, but it still was a quietness and a solitude that reached the depths of who I am. And no matter how many mistakes were made between men and women in my life, in my family, in my own experience, by my ancestors, there was still such a beautiful awareness of oneness and of healing. There's so many practices that we can do. And I believe that the more that we hone this skill of listening within, the more we practice, the more frequently we hear, the more fluidly we hear, the more we, and in any moment of the day, whether we're sitting on the cushion or not, we're informed, we're being constantly informed. And not only that, but then we become more able to listen to another person's heart, which is just a beautiful gift for both people, really for all of humanity. The more we listen to our own hearts, the more clearly we hear another person's heart, the more kindness and compassion we bring into our lives and into the world. This past Wednesday, I was getting ready for my Zoom class with my practitioner students, and I received a text right before I was to click the button to go live. And Katie had a doctor's appointment. This is my daughter-in-law. She, as I just said, she just gave birth, and she's texting me saying that the doctor, she just left her doctor's appointment. They're going to give her 48 hours, otherwise they'll induce labor on Friday. And I was hit with this overwhelm of mommy heart breaking. Mommy's heart was breaking, right? That I couldn't be there. I so want to be there. And thinking that she was going to give birth on the twins' birthday and would need those extra hands, would need people to be there with the kids while her and Aaron went to the hospital. And I was just flooded. My heart was in pain at that moment. But again, I had a class to attend to. So I clicked the button, opened the classroom, and I told my students what was going on and said, I need you to do treatment for me. I need you to pray for and with me right now so I can be present for you in this moment. And I was met with such open-heartedness, exactly what I'm talking about here. I was witnessed. I felt seen and heard and understood and accepted. I felt safe, which was very important. And this is what we train our licensed spiritual practitioners to do. To be with someone in their pain, and then to know a higher truth. And that's exactly what they did, aligning myself with the spirit within me that gives me poise and peace and calm, and I was able to go on with class. When we are in the practice of listening to our hearts, we are then able to be in relationship with others in a more authentic and compassionate way. And I experienced this. I know this to be true. And through empathic listening to others, we have the realization that we're connected. We feel that connection on such a visceral level, and we understand then that there's only one thing ever happening. Life. Life is happening by means of each one of us, through me, through you, through each one of us. And when our heart is open and we're interacting in that way, it's a visceral experience. We feel spirit expressing itself. And from that point, we can make the most compassionate choices and have the most empathetic actions towards one another. Most of you have probably heard about the work of Brené Brown. Brené Brown's a researcher and has written many books along this line. And one of her books, Dare to Lead, she shares a story about being on the receiving end of empathy and how that affected her deeply. And she goes on to say that choice, that being empathetic is a choice. And it's also, like Parker Palmer said, it is a choice to accept vulnerability. It is a choice to step into vulnerability. You know, I was sharing this. I could have just waited and not clicked on the Zoom call and let myself compose. But I chose to be vulnerable with my practitioner students. It's a win-win for everyone when we show up with our heart exposed, trusting. It is a win-win for everyone. Listening with the heart to another person is not about fixing the problem at all. It is not about solving a problem. It is not about making them feel better even, which kind of intuitively doesn't seem right, but it's to be with them. It's definitely not about giving advice, but being present with them, holding the container, connecting with that within you that is what they're experiencing. You may not have the same story that they're experiencing, but you've experienced loss, pain, suffering of some sort. And so you touch into that within yourself, which is universal, which is primal. And then you touch into that love and listen with your heart. Brené Brown says this is brave, that it is brave to not race to turn on the lights so we feel better, because it's our uncomfortability with suffering and pain that forces us into want to fix and give advice. It's that uncomfortability. So as Parker Palmer said, and Brené Brown's research shows, it is that ability to be present with them. Now, that doesn't mean going into the depths with them, but allowing them their process in a container of love. And for a practitioner, it's in a container of love while I am knowing your highest and best truth. While I am knowing that that's beyond this condition that you're experiencing right now. And that is a skill. It is a skill that it takes our practitioners years, but it is a skill that we can hone. And I think it is just such a gift for us to do. Now, Brené Brown has 5 skills that she outlines in this book, but they all basically are about being present and being mindful, being very aware of, again, that word and that practice of equanimity. She says it's taking a balanced approach to negative emotions so that these feelings are neither suppressed nor exaggerated. So no spiritual bypassing allowed. And in Living the Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, he addresses this, even addressing that it's controversial, that it's a controversial new thought idea that we allow our feelings, that we don't have mind override the feelings. But here's what he wrote. He said, I believe that the heart of the universe, the essence of reality or God, the living spirit, is the essence of pure feeling. I believe that feeling is back of every creative impulse, whether in God or in man. And at the end of his life, Ernest Holmes said that if he had it to do over again, he would have started with the heart, because he was all mind for so many years. And so he does talk in places in the Science of Mind, in his text, in the textbook, he talks about emotions, and he talks about it as original feeling, capital O, capital F, original feeling, that original feeling that's flowing through us as the universe individualizes itself in us. He also uses the phrase libido or urge to describe this emotional craving back of all things for life to self-express through us. I can't think of anything that's more like that than giving birth in my human experience. That's giving birth. But our resistance or suppression of life that wants to move through us, through our ideas and our creations, if we suppress that, it creates neuroses, it creates illness in our bodies. So Friday morning, life was coming through a mother, my daughter-in-law, into form. And I have this new grandson, and he has, you know, complete and full potential, right? An infinite set of choices and creations ahead of him. And his 3-year-old brothers, they're full of potential too. And you are filled with infinite potentials, infinite possibilities. And it matters not how old you are. It matters not how much money is in your bank account. It matters not what your education level is. Life wants to express in, as, and through each one of us in a very unique way. So listen to your heart and commit to your spiritual practice. I'm going to give a plug for Julie Birch and the Thursday meditation practice that she's doing with us. She's also teaching a class online. She's also involved in a unified mindfulness program that's going to start on Wednesday and run for five days. You can put it in the chat, send an email, and we'll get you all that information. And I have an upcoming class that starts, I believe it's going to start on the 27th, Wednesday evening, the 27th, and that's on spiritual principles and practices. I invite you to really take this time to hone your skills. And I say once again, happy Mother's Day. I want to thank all of you who have given birth and nurture life and continue to nurture your own and another person's life. Thank you. Bless you for that. I am grateful to my own mother and to her mother and to my mother-in-law. And I am so grateful to my children, to my son and daughter, and to the children that they're bringing into my life. I love motherhood. And I'm grateful for the continuity and the rhythm of life that I've experienced and that I get to experience on a deeper level each and every day. I'm grateful for the divine wisdom that is ever present and available. I'm grateful to that inner voice that never leads us astray. So I'm grateful for my own spiritual practice. I'm grateful for your spiritual practice and the world that we are creating together. So thank you. Namaste. And so now we're going to bring Felicia back on and let her bless us with another beautiful song. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, I was going to sing my old Follow Your Heart song, but now I'm feeling compelled to do some Sanskrit to the Holy Mother. This chant is really in praise to the earth, all those who have given birth, the Mother, the Holy Mother, and every other. into your light, into your love. Ooh, Jayambe, Jagalambe, Rata Bhavani, Jayambe, Jayambe, Jagalambe, Rata Bhavani, Jayambe. I'm only here to sing. I'm only here to sing. I'm only here to sing your holy name over and over and over. Holy Mother, Mother lovely, like a mockingbird, over night and I sing to you to try to pierce the veil. Ooh, Mother of bliss, Amanda, Earth Mother, I sing your praise over and over.
Oh, Felicia, thank you so much. Thank you for being with us and blessing us with your beautiful voice and your music. Thank you so much. I'm sure we're going to have great feedback on this, and we'll have you back with us again too. So I'm just grateful to have met you this morning.
Me too.
Yeah, yeah. Blessings. Thank you.
Thank
you. I love what I do. I love what I do, and I thank you for supporting me and getting to do what I love to do, to talk about these spiritual principles and practices and bring beautiful music to you. Oh, beautiful music. And that was a great segue. And so I thank you. It's our time of giving now, and Evan Schulte is going to be putting up in the chat the ways that you can contribute. There's text, there's email, mail, snail mail, a check. There's lots of ways that you can help support this ministry. And it's also at the top of the YouTube, if you're watching us on YouTube, under the more, you got to click that little word more, but you'll see all the ways. And so again, thank you for that. I wanted to just point something out as Evan is posting those links, and also the poem, the Ernest Holmes poem, that prayer that we'll read together. But I wanted to point out in the Science My magazine this month, and many of you I know are subscribers, that there's an article in here by our beloved Emile Gauvreau, Rev G, and it's the law of circulation, the power of one love. And so I just wanted to share with you a line. He's talking here about the oneness and the abundance of life. And he says, the solution is for us to adopt a way of living that establishes an alignment between ourselves and the infinite. And he says that that's key, and that we need to give from that place, from that alignment and that recognition, to give from a deep knowing that the universe is always for us. So as we begin to this time of circulation, of practicing the law of circulation, giving and receiving, do so in that recognition that there is an infinite flow, an endless, eternal flow that we're all part of as we read this together. Good and more good is mine.
An ever-increasing good is mine.
There is no limit to the good which is mine.
Everywhere I go, I see this good, I feel it, I experience it.
It crowds itself against me, flows through me, and expresses itself in me, and multiplies itself all around me.
I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on.
I'm going to pass on a little gift to you right now. Because we're not meeting in person, I have probably about 15 of these magazines that I'm willing to gift away to, if you're not receiving it, go ahead and send us an email. The email is, well, Evan just probably put that on there, but if not, it's Center for Spiritual Living culturalcoast.org. No,
that's the website.
That's the website. Email, go to the website, and then at the bottom, put in there that you want to go on the newsletter. I'll say that now. But if you email me, which is Theresa at CSLculturalcoast.org, email me your address and the first, 15 people or however many magazines. I'll either drop it off if you're local or I'll mail it out to you. Okay, so that's our gift for you right now. And we also have other ways to connect during the week. Tuesday nights, we have a prayer support circle. And on Thursdays, as I already mentioned, Julie's doing a meditation group. So check those out. And what else do I want to tell you? I think that's it. I'm going to put the link on here now for our Zoom after the meeting, and come on and let's just see each other face to face and say hi.
And if you'd like prayer support, email prayer@csl.org or get a hold of Elaine Silver, Tom Dieter, or me, and we will pray with you and be happy to. And so let's close with Let It Shine. There's a light at the center of everyone. It can light up the world just like the sun. There's a flame within us that can light our way. It can burn away the darkness of a troubled day. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Whenever you see darkness, you've got to know that the light is within you. Everywhere you go, whatever you are facing, whatever's on your mind, you can help illuminate it. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine.